everyone, and welcome to RC Plane Lab. I'm Ron.
And I'm Tom, and we're going to give away this FlySky FS i6 transmitter receiver combo.
We are finally ready to announce all the rules and the description and the time frame and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we have that nailed down.
Yep.
Starting February 12th of this year, 2021, you can enter to win it.
And entering is, it couldn't be easier. It's super easy. All you got to do is head over to our website, rcplanelab.com, click on the giveaway link. It'll be right at the top of the page. Super, super easy to do. Put your name and your email address on the entry form, and no purchase necessary, none of that stuff, yada, 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 enter to win. It's just that easy. And there's a link to our YouTube channel on the entry form. Guess what that does?
What does it do, Tom?
Gives you a bonus extra entry.
A bonus extra entry.
It's like 2 for the price of 1, which the price is free. So it's really free for the price of free, but you get double.
Double your chance of winning.
Yeah. So you click that link, opens up our YouTube channel, gives you an extra entry, like I said. And while you're there, you can kind of check out our content, check out the videos we've posted. The Duelist Maiden videos are on there. Ron's Yak made, or was it a maiden? It wasn't really a maiden.
No, that was a maiden to me.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever flown
First time Ron had ever flown the ginormous Yak that he owns.
Which is going to be put to shame size-wise, by the way.
Pretty soon by this behind us. At any rate, got off topic there. Check out what we have on YouTube. Look around. There'll be more videos posted soon. If you would do us a huge favor, click the subscribe button. And also click notifications. If you turn the notifications on, anytime we post something on there, you'll get notified as soon as we post it on there, so you guys won't miss anything.
Yeah, and you don't have to subscribe to be entered the second time. It's just a link to open up the YouTube channel.
Right.
So that's not, what's the word I'm looking for?
A requirement?
Sure, that's not a requirement.
It doesn't help your chances to win.
No. But it makes us feel better.
It makes us feel better.
Subscribe.
Right. So lots of cool stuff on the YouTube channel. We'll have an unboxing video and a review of this radio that we're going to give away. So that'd be something to look forward to, and you won't miss it if you have notifications turned on on the channel. So you can expect that video coming shortly. I've already flown the radio in my old stick 60 size airplane. Did a great job, actually.
Yeah, no problems.
I didn't have any trouble at all. And so I'm going to hand it over to Ron here pretty soon. He's going to put it in one of his electric airplanes, and he'll give it a thrash, and we'll make sure we include that in the review video so you guys can see that.
Yeah.
And if you have notifications turned on,
you'll know exactly when it's posted.
You'll know exactly. So
when does the contest end?
I'm glad you asked. April 12th. Contest ends on April 12th, and then we'll air or we'll announce the winner on our April 16th episode. So,
okay.
Sound good to you?
No, that's fine.
All right, cool. So easy peasy. Just click the giveaway link at the top of our page and go to YouTube for that extra entry. Just click the link.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be cool to see who wins.
I think whoever gets the radio, I think they'll be happy with it. Number one, it's free.
Yeah.
And it does perform pretty well
and it works wonderfully
for what it is.
So far.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yep.
So last week we talked about whose duelist was faster, if you remember that.
I do remember that.
That was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
But okay, so my dad watched that, and then he called me and asked, first off, he asked what I was making you guys for dinner.
Right.
One of these days. But then he asked, we got talking about airplanes, and then he asked if I remembered my first airplane, which I thought I did.
Yeah, because you told us that it was...
Yeah, my Super Cub, but apparently I don't remember this. He said I had one when I was quite a bit younger, that I flew up at the park by our house when I was growing up. And he said that I was able to fly it around pretty well for a minute. And then then I lawn darted it into the ground and threw it away. So
your memory that you went on and on about in whatever episode that was about your Super Cub and the the going into the hobby shop and buying it and all that was a lie. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying it was a lie as much as I'm old and I don't remember stuff.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say that you were old?
I will say that when it behooves me. And this time it behooves me.
I'm glad you can admit it.
I said, I don't remember that at all. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I have no recollection. Like, I've thought about it and tried to remember, like, I asked him what kind of plane it was, and he's like, well, I don't remember, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess my whole spiel about when I first started was a complete lie.
Well, it made for a good story, I guess.
Well, it was a story. I don't know how good it was, but
I can't believe you flew a model airplane and have no memory of it. I can't believe that.
I can't believe it either. Like, I have no clue.
Okay.
I'm thrown for a loop. And maybe he's getting old and senile and remembering things that didn't happen.
Oh, you think that's it? You think he's crafting memories out of nothing, you think?
I mean, maybe. No, actually, I don't think that. But
Mr. Hall, if you're watching, I believe you.
I know I have a terrible memory, so that's fully possible.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, so apparently my first plane was back when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, and that you have no memory of.
That I have no memory of. Huh. It ended the same way that I guess a lot of first airplanes do, though. So it's in the trash.
Well, that's unfortunate.
From way back when.
Well, that was probably not as interesting a story as the actual story that you told us on the podcast. So
maybe. I mean, if I remembered it, we'll see.
Well, maybe you will remember it eventually, and then you can talk about it again at a future time.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that. So what else you got?
Well, for now, so some good news coming to all of us Balsa builders. Balsa USA on the latest, I think it was the latest episode. It aired earlier this week on AMA Air on Facebook. I don't know if you guys watch that or not. I do. But Balsa USA announced that they're going to get into the tool making business.
Really?
So if you don't know who Balsa USA is, they are a kit manufacturer here right in the States. And they produce very nice quality kits, a lot of really nice World War I scale, big airplanes.
Are they the ones that have the Telemaster, like the rights to the Telemaster and are creating that, or is that somebody else?
That's, I believe that's Carolina Custom Kits.
That sounds more like it, so forget I said anything.
At any rate, yeah. So it's a relatively big company that builds or that produces Balsa airplane kits. So that can only mean that the tools that they're going to produce are probably going to be for hobbyists building airplanes out of balsa. Yeah. So great news. As Ron and I have said on many occasions, not just on the podcast, but also just in conversations that we had about the lack of really neat tools in the hobby that used to be available that are no longer produced because either the companies aren't around anymore or they just don't produce them anymore. So really good news for us. I'm glad Balsa USA is going to do that. And they've already got their first new product. I believe it's on their webpage. It is it's a sanding tool that you can sand perfect angles or bevels. It's a pretty slick little tool. It comes with a couple of blocks that you can glue some sandpaper to, and you can sand perfect 33, 45, 60-degree angles. Like if you're stick building and you want those nice miter joints, this will be a really, really handy tool to own. So good news for us balsa builders. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what they come out with.
Yeah.
balsausa.com. That's where you can find this new tool. And like I said, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what they come up with.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Wonder what else they'll do.
Man, there's so many possibilities. I remember one of the tools that I still use, a Great Plains contoured sanding block. It's a piece of aluminum extrusion that has a perfect shape to grip that you can't buy anymore because they don't make it anymore. But something like that, or I don't know. I can't wait to see what they come up with next. I think it's good news though. So
awesome. Yeah, we need to get balsa building going again.
It seems like from stuff I've read on the internet forums and even on Balsa USA's website. I mean, Balsa USA and SIG, these companies are still around, so that's a good thing. And they're producing new stuff. So I mean, that tells me that there's still a core out there of balsa builders. Mm-hmm. And if you get on the forums, like on RC Groups and RC Universe and these other places you can visit, and some of the new Facebook groups I wanted to talk a little bit about too, like what's the one that I think you sent me something and I joined it, and it's like nothing but the Balsa Builders Association or something like that.
Yeah. Man, that's all my Facebook is, by the way. Me too. I have nothing other than RC airplanes on it. Like literally.
Yep. RC airplanes and dog videos. That's pretty much
no dog videos for me.
Anything else that pops up, it's usually a click the unfollow, and whatever comes up next is usually balsa building. But anyway, it seems like there's a lot of folks out there posting pictures of their builds on these Facebook groups, and so I don't think balsa building is dead. I feel like it's going through kind of a, I don't want to say renaissance, but like a resurgence maybe. So that's exciting.
Well, I spilled your drink
I
there.
did, but I caught it. Did you see that?
I did. That's
cat-like reflexes.
Good job. It scared me a little bit.
Yeah. But no, I think balsa building is definitely not dead, and I feel like that it's gaining popularity again.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Good news for us.
Yeah.
Because we like to build with balsa,
and we're going to continue to do it for a long, long time.
Well, we're going to have to, because we got a big project we're going to have to work on.
Going to have to or get to?
Well,
it's all about how you look at it.
That's true. Sometimes it can feel like work, but right now we're really excited.
Yeah, because
the Ford Tri-Motor.
Well, no, we're excited because we're going bigger.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ron's excited.
Well, I had to compromise with Tom. I wanted to do bigger than what we had originally talked about.
Ron always wants to go bigger.
Well, you can't say no.
Well, I did, finally.
Well, okay. We decided, by the way, that we're going to do 144-inch wingspan. So that takes us to 12 feet.
Nice even number.
Not
as even as 10, but even.
I wanted a 156-inch wingspan.
Oh, my goodness.
13 feet, but you know what? It's okay. 144 inches is what we're going to do. That's pretty much, I think set in stone.
Yeah, anything bigger than that, physically speaking, I will have trouble getting it in and out of the house. And well,
that's not my problem. You got to figure that out.
Right. We haven't quite nailed down the details. The plan was to build a majority of it at my house because that's where most of the time I'm going to have to spend is going to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fuselage is what I was the most concerned with, getting it in and out of because I have a basement, my shop, I've talked about it before.
Right.
It's downstairs and you have to go up the stairs and kind of make a turn. A really long fuselage would be really difficult to make that. So that's kind of why I kind of cut you off at 144. 156 inches, it's probably only another 1.5 inches or 2 inches, maybe 3 inches length of the fuselage. But when you're already at, 80 plus inches, it makes a difference. But we may not do all the construction of my house. We may do some of it here. So
we'll see. Yeah. I mean, that's to be determined. This is a very fluid situation still because we're in the planning stages.
But we've nailed down a wingspan.
Have we?
Yes, 144 inches.
Okay, that's 144 inches.
Yep. I've decided.
And that ends up being, by the way, a little over a 15% airplane. It's like 15.4% if we're going to be completely by the book, if you do the math.
Yeah, okay.
So it's weird because the yak I have is a 42% yak. And this airplane that we're building is a 15.4% tri-motor, and the tri-motor is bigger than the yak.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show you how small, in reality, not just the yaks, but the yaks, extras, edges, how small in real life they actually are.
They're tiny.
They're very small.
I mean, like if you've ever seen one in real life,
they're small.
It's like, is this a big RC airplane or is this a real like full-size airplane?
Right.
And they're tiny. But that's okay.
Yeah,
because they all have their point, and their point is to go fast and have fun. It's like a sports car.
Exactly.
So 15%. We came up with, because we had to resize the plans.
We did.
Like I said, the plan that we downloaded, which I don't even think we're going to say we're going to follow that plan as much as we're kind of using that for an outline.
Just an outline.
But
this is going to be, no kidding, a scratch build, because we're going to be, we have a plan, like a jumping off point, but our finished product, as far as the plan is concerned, is going to be ours.
Oh yeah.
Because it'll be a pretty much a complete redesign. We just needed a scale outline, and that's what this plan here behind us, if you're watching, is all it's really providing is the outline.
And this is the 117-inch version behind us, not the 144-inch. I still have to reprint the plans.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's 185% of the 78-inch wingspan plan.
Yeah, nearly 200%.
So it took me a long time to figure that out. We did a full episode on plans resizing, and I completely failed by not putting a page on the website. And when I went on our site to try and find, like, to see if I actually put how to do it in the show notes and stuff, I couldn't find the episode. So sorry if anybody's trying to find stuff on our website. I did add a search bar.
Cool.
So now you can, search for certain episodes, or search for topics, or
that'll be handy.
Or search for something like that. But I also did a full write up and a small article on there on how to resize and how to print. So now we have a page on there for resizing plans. Awesome. And if nobody else uses it, it's just as handy for me to go in and figure out when I need to do it. Yeah. So it's kind of just a reference for us.
Handy little tool.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't call it a tool because it's just a formula. But
Well, but I mean, people like me who are math inhibited would find that very handy.
And yeah.
It just occurred to me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it just occurred to me that we haven't really even started on the Tri-Motor project, and we're already providing updates.
Well, like I said, this is a fluid situation. We started on it because we've picked a plan.
We have.
And we've now picked a size.
Yeah. And now it's just overcoming the challenges that'll be associated with the huge upscale that we've chosen to perform on this plan.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think we're going to come across?
Oh, gosh. The thing that occurs to me first is it's such a big airplane. The fuselage is going to be really, really long. Already I'm thinking, as far as the longerons are concerned, stock dimensional balsa, I think you can get balsa lengths up to 48 inches pretty readily. Our fuselage is going to be 80 plus inches long. So yeah, we're going to be looking at things like splicing, joints, things like that. So, that's one challenge I can think of right off the top of my head.
What's a longeron?
A longeron is that long piece that runs the length of the fuselage, or long pieces.
Just on the top, or
it's kind of like, you could think of it kind of like a spar for a fuselage, kind of, if that makes sense.
So front to back on the bottom even, or just on the turtle deck?
Bottom, side, turtle deck. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Something that runs the length of the fuselage is called usually a longeron, because it runs longitudinally.
The whole airplane.
Exactly. See, you got it.
Okay, so when it comes to finding, what size do you think, I don't even know what size balsa we're going to have to go with on it.
Yeah.
Can we get, since we have the balsa stripper and stuff, can you get smaller pieces of balsa and just laminate them together?
You could. Absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Problem solved. Next.
Yeah. Offset the joints and yeah, absolutely we can, and that's the kind of stuff that we'll probably have to end up doing, especially on the fuselage. We've elected to go with plug-in wing panels, so that kind of alleviates the stock length on balsa problem, because I think our panels are going to be roughly, they'll be under 48 inches probably. And even if they're not with a wingtip, I think we'll be safely in that margin where we can use one piece spars in each panel. But at any rate, those are the sorts of things. One sort of challenge that I can see right off the bat.
If it's a 12-foot wingspan, then I guess it all just depends on how wide that center section is.
Yeah.
So it might be over a 48-inch wing on each side.
Well, but there's quite a few inches of wingtip also that won't require a spar.
6 or 7, on each side.
It'll be close. But at the same time, we can laminate just like we would with a longeron. So that's one challenge. This is going to be a big airplane. It's
not going to be that big.
It's going to have it
should be bigger.
Huge. Are you kidding me?
Should be bigger.
It's going to require a lot of balsa.
Yeah. So we need to order a lot of balsa.
So we'll order a lot of balsa, and hopefully we can get the balsa we need, because there's a shortage right now.
Well, that's not my problem. Find it.
I understand, but that could potentially be a roadblock. Maybe not a roadblock, but something we'll have to, we may have to
runway block.
Yeah. Like a pothole in the runway, maybe that we have to get around.
Yeah.
but order balsa from several different places because one place may be out of the size we need, and or may only have so many pieces of, because this is going to require a lot of balsa. I think you're underestimating how much balsa is going to be.
I think you're overestimating it. It can't be that much. I mean, do you think there's going to be more balsa in this than in the 2 airplanes, the duelists that we built?
Oh, by far.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look at the wing. I mean, we're going to fully sheet the wing, or at least mostly sheet the wing.
Okay.
That is a lot of wing to sheet.
Well, but it wasn't that hard to find that balsa.
No, it wasn't hard to find it. But
so I don't think we're going to have a problem.
Okay. Well,
I think you're
right.
I think you're just picking things to complain about so that you make it seem like
that's normally your job.
Well, but it's you're learning, I guess. You're taking after me now.
Okay.
But no, I don't think that's going to be all that difficult.
Okay.
Especially if we end up cutting like our own sticks, which I have no reason to think we wouldn't.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I mean, did you watch the Saving Money on Ball or on the hobby episode?
It. I lived it. I think. Was I there?
Yeah, you were there.
I don't remember.
Hey, something else that might be a challenge. So the Ford Trimotor has a corrugated aluminum skin.
Yeah.
Simulating that is going to be a challenge.
I'll be honest. That's the part I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to it because I like the challenge, but I'm not looking forward to it because I don't like the challenge. It's weird. But it's going to be.
Doesn't make any sense.
Like I don't know. I just want it to look good and work well.
I do too.
And I don't know exactly how we're going to do it yet.
Well, we've got, there's a couple of ideas floating around, but.
Well, right. Like we've talked about making a plug for a vacuum form machine,
right?
Which means I have to build a vacuum form machine, which means I have to then
have one. Remember, you got one from Brian.
Well, yeah, but that's way too tiny for what we need to do with it.
It is.
So I'm going to have to build a big one. And
by the way, Brian, when I was there a couple weeks ago or whatever, he asked me if you wanted a couple more vacuum form machines, and I told him yes.
Cool.
So yeah, next time I'm up there, I'll grab a couple more for you.
Of those or big ones?
Of those, so that maybe you can make a bigger one out of the smaller ones. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I figured the parts wouldn't hurt to have.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Next time I'm up there, Brian, if you're watching, set a couple of those aside for me.
Cool. That took me off my train of thought. What were you talking about?
You were talking about making a plug for the corrugation.
So we're gonna have to make a plug for the corrugation.
Well, like specifically the leading edge of the wing. That's a fairly tight, comparatively speaking to the rest of the airplane, it's a fairly compound, tight radius that we'd have to form this corrugation around. So that's definitely going to require leading edge forms, I think, probably to
most likely, yeah.
Yeah, to vacuum form a leading edge, and then tying that into the other corrugation that's going to be on the rest of the wing might be, it's modeling, right?
True.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I wish we had some of this stuff figured out, because then I would not, be up all night thinking about when I'm supposed to be sleeping.
Well, we're not going to, we want it to look good. And so we'll do whatever it takes to make that happen.
I did the math. So for the scale that we're doing,
okay,
the corrugation on the side, so on a real trimotor, full-size trimotor, I think the corrugation was like an inch. Oh, shucks. I don't remember. Inch and a quarter, maybe?
Oh, no. As far as like the depth and
yeah.
Width? Okay. All right.
Ignore what I'm saying on that because I don't remember exactly, but I figured out for the scale that we were doing, it would be right around like 0.16 inches of the actual corrugation.
Yeah, that's less than an eighth of an inch, right?
No, eighth is 1/25.
It's just over, yeah, I was just going to say just over an eighth of an inch.
So it's like close to like 3/8.
Yeah.
Or not 3/8, close to like 3/16. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how well that's going to model and be seen with the way we're talking about doing it. So we might have to make it just a little bit bigger. Like I've got router bits already that'll do 1/4 inch, and then we can do like a 1/4 inch corrugation and see how that looks and how that works.
Yep.
But if we don't like that, then I'm going to have to use a CNC machine or something to make a plug and just like a 3D carved plug or something to whatever scale we go to.
Yeah.
If you guys have ideas, let us know, because we are early in the planning stage and
always open to suggestions.
Yeah, we got to figure this out.
But yeah, so like one of the, that and a flat piece of corrugation is one thing, but then the curved section, especially like on the wing leading edge, that's another animal entirely.
Yeah,
we're probably looking at hand, making from hand a model of the model's leading edge to then, apply corrugations to, and then make a mold of that, and then make vacuum form parts from that. So that actually sounds really cool. Actually, that process sounds like a lot of fun. Actually,
another thing that I'm not sure how we're going to do is getting the landing gear just right.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, because so like on the plan we're using, the 78-inch plan that we're kind of using as a jumping off point, I think it uses 532 wire for the gear. You scale that up 180 whatever percent you had to do. That turns out to be like 1/2-inch diameter steel wire. I don't think we're going to need to make our landing gear out of wire that's going to be that big. So that'll be another.
That's going to be heavy if we did.
Yeah, that'll be another thing that we'll have to design ourselves and incorporate into the structure that we'll also be designing ourselves.
Now, do you think any of that can be done out of like hollow tube, or does it all need to be like brass tube, or should that all be steel?
No, probably the main gear legs are probably going to need to be solid wire. Now for the uprights that go to the nacelles, if they're not actually bearing any weight, we can probably make that out of like K&S streamlined tubing or something like that. That's really, really light.
Well, that might actually hold a little bit of weight.
Well, we'll see.
Because there's no, I think that's going to hold some weight and actually push it up to the wing.
Oh, okay. Well,
just the way the whole landing gear is designed on that.
Probably then we'll make that out of solid wire.
Well, maybe we could make it out of 5/32 wire and wrap it with K&S tubing or something just to be decorative.
Balsa. Wrap it with balsa. You could do that too and give it a shape.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So
that'd be lighter and easier.
I mean, look at us solving problems already.
Talking it out. That's
challenges,
what we do here.
Yeah, we're rising to the challenges. Building the nacelles is going to be another challenge too.
I have not even thought
talking
of
about
that.
The gear. I mean, the nacelles are kind of a weird shape. Like on the on the real one, on the full size one. So incorporating the mounts into the wings, I can foresee kind of, because they're like on the full size one, they have streamlined braces, kind of like if you're familiar with a biplane, you've got the interplane struts or the wing struts or whatever, kind of the same idea. So and since these are going to be transferring the torque and thrust of the engines to the airframe. That's something we'll have to work through too.
I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just thinking about designing and making the shape. But there's a lot.
Attaching them to the airframe was what I was referring to.
Oh.
Yeah, because they have to transfer that thrust that's going to be produced by the. Now we're talking different engines even.
Now I'm concerned about that.
Now I've given you another reason to stay up late.
Shoot. Yeah, like really, I didn't even think. I thought when you were talking about nacelles being difficult, I was like, why? It's just a weird shape.
Yeah. And speaking of engines, a small discussion we had going with 3 pumped engines as opposed to a pumped engine in the center and 2 regular old 4-strokes without pumps in the nacelles. Maybe we could use one tank to feed all 3 engines and not have to worry so much about putting a fuel tank in each nacelle.
That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah,
I want a single tank in the wing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's I've never actually designed or built or flown a model that fed multiple engines from one tank.
Really? Neither have I.
No. So that's something that me being a nitro engine guy, that's something that'll be fun for me to tinker with and figure out.
And that's all on you.
Well, you're going to help me build a stand.
I'll help you build a stand.
So I can run 3 engines together off one.
That I want done because I want to hear all 3 of those together.
Oh, we'll make it happen.
Like soon, but you got to get more engines. You got to get more engines first.
At least one.
Now you have you had the OS 120.
Yep.
You had the OS 90?
91.
OS 91.
Yep. I had
and then you
91.
bought another OS 91?
I did.
So technically we have the 3 engines.
For the 117 inch.
For the 117 inch.
And,
but
and potentially the 124, I think we were looking at briefly too. But now that we're at 144 inches. And,
so because
I'm concerned a little bit about weight and thrust to weight, we really need to go to 3 120s, I think.
So because I have just completely
gone off the rails,
taken our original plan and told you that let's make it bigger. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well,
I feel bad.
It's all right.
But I'm not going to feel bad when we hear them all together running.
I know, it's going to be so sweet.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I really am. At any rate, yeah, so that's another challenge, figuring out the fuel system on 3, luckily, 3 pumped engines. We can put the tank anywhere
tank.
we want. Because
how big of a tank, by the way? Sorry,
as big as we can fit. Hopefully near the CG.
Like a liter of fuel.
I don't
know what that is.
I don't really speak metrics.
I don't either. But
probably, I'm guessing at least a 26 ounce, if not bigger, 32 ounce. If we can fit it in the wing somehow, that's what we're gonna do. As big as possible. I mean,
I'm so looking forward to this.
He's giddy.
Like I really am. Like yeah. This is one thing that I'm just so looking forward to.
Keeping the weight down. That just popped in my head. I think that's something we need to really keep at the forefront of our thought anytime we design something or are in the midst of building something.
I think we're probably going to get bigger engines before this is over.
Oh my gosh. I mean, bigger engines are cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
But you may be right. We'll see.
We'll have to measure the pole and all that. I mean, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think so. I can't wait to put 3 engines on a test stand and run them together. That's going to be awesome. We'll have to strap it down to something probably.
Yeah, let's get that other one ordered and let's do it quick.
Right.
You know, the other thing, hiding the radio. Like we're going to figure where we put all that because we need all that hidden.
Yeah, because you want to do a scale cabin or a scale-ish cabin.
I so do. Like I'm looking forward to that too.
So yeah, hiding the radio gear, that's going to be something that we'll have to think about in the design process. So that's definitely going to be a challenge. We already kind of, I think, figured out what we want to do for like the aileron servos. We're going to do like a pull setup because the scale one kind of had that arrangement. The full size one. Sorry.
I was going to say, there you go. You threw me.
So yeah, think of like a pull rudder on your aerobatic airplane like that, only horizontal for the ailerons. So so that's 2 servos hidden. We don't have to worry about those.
And I'm still pushing somehow to have the control surfaces be actuated by the wires on the outside of the airplane, like really working, not dummy wires.
Well, for the ailerons, at least in the wing,
that's easy.
That's easy. The elevator and the rudder back there, that's a challenge. See, we get to work. Gonna around figure it out too. We'll figure it out.
So let's talk about the real tri-motor.
Okay.
It's
such a cool airplane.
It's ugly.
See,
but so
I don't
cool.
think it's ugly.
Oh, I do. But that's one of the reasons I like it because it's just so ugly. It's so weird
different.
Looking. It's different, sure. But it's, cool. Awesome, but ugly.
Yeah. So, I think it's a cool airplane. Obviously built by the Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
And Ron's a huge fan of Ford.
A little less as I get older, but
yeah. It seems to be shifting as you
very
get older.
Fast. Yeah.
But actually, the design dates back to previous. I don't want to say owner, but an individual by the name or a company called the Stout Metal Aircraft Company. That's where the design actually originated. That design was bought by the Ford Motor or Henry Ford, like in the mid 20s, I think 1925, something like that. And they produced the tri-motor from 1925 to 1933. So it's not like actually as long as I would have thought. Like after I saw it, I looked it up and did the reading. I was like, oh, that's really not a very long lifespan of manufacturing. But
well, it was kind of an airplane that was like thrown together. Like I don't even know how I wanted to describe it because it's completely different the way it's put together than any other airplane that had been built before.
It is.
I mean, am I right in thinking that was the first all metal airplane?
No, I don't think it was the first all metal airplane, but it was certainly one of the first all metal like commercial type airliners. In
Maybe
fact,
that's what I was thinking.
Henry Ford used that in like his literature to sell it to the airlines. It was, I think he said it's the safest airplane around, I think was his quote, because it was all metal in a time where a lot of airplanes had metal airframes with fabric covered control surfaces or something like that.
Yeah.
Also something that's kind of unique to the airplane is obviously it has 3 engines, which is not real common, but it also had internally braced wings. So you didn't have any wing struts. You know, like how a Piper Cub has the struts that go out there and help support the wing.
I guess I never thought of that, but
Ford
you're right.
Doesn't have those. Yeah, so it was one of the first airliners to sort of have that feature too. Not the first, but one of the first.
Yeah.
To be constructed all metal and no wing struts. So kind of a neat airplane just in that regard, because it was new, and it introduced all these new principles to commercial airliners.
Yeah.
So, take that for what it's worth. I think it's cool.
I do too.
The full scale one, the 5AT that I think we're gonna model.
That's the airplane we're going to be modeling after.
Yep. Almost a 78-foot wing.
Yeah, just under.
Yeah, it's like 77 feet and 10 inches.
So there were a bunch of different tri-motors. Like when you say tri-motor, that's not like talking about just a single airplane.
Right.
They went through a lot of different iterations, I guess.
Yep.
And the 5AT, like you said, that's the one we're going to be modeling after, is actually the biggest of them with a 78-ish wingspan.
Right.
And I think the ones before it were 70, what was it, 74, 75, something like that.
74 for the 4ATs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was like, so they built 199 of these things, plus or minus. I think they had a few extra, according to what I read, they had a few extra prototypes that they built and tested various engine combinations and things like that. So not a lot of airplanes that they built, but yeah, there was quite a variety in the production numbers of the different variants. Like just with the 5ATs, there's like a 5ATA, and then there's like an ATB, and then they go all the way down to like
E, I
Lima,
think.
I think, or Echo, maybe even. I don't know.
Or just E, or for
just
those
E
of us
or
that,
L.
say E for E.
Well, military. I can't help it. But yeah, they for as short as the production run was, there were really quite a surprising number of variants of the same.
Right. Yeah. They
were
were changing things very quickly.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean,
I think so.
It works well. And if you ever there's not a lot of these.
No.
But we saw one. I think it was actually like a week after we flew in one. We went up to the Henry Ford Museum for a little vacation,
cool. Yeah.
and they have one up there too.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have one on display.
Oh, so is it an airworthy one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's display
Still
only.
Cool though.
It's one on skis.
Oh. Well,
I don't remember what. I mean, I think you can look at the Henry Ford website or something. It will tell you which one it is.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a 4AT, but yeah, it's one that actually was built with skis on it for taking off on snow.
Snow, yeah.
And they actually had them too, by the way, where you could take off on water.
Can you imagine one of these things on floats?
That would be scary. That would be cool, but scary.
How does that? Huh.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a picture of that. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of one.
I haven't either. I've just read about it.
Well, I imagine with all the research we're going to be doing, we'll probably run across that photo. So
hopefully we'll see.
Maybe post that on the website. That'd be kind of cool. Not a very fast airplane.
No.
The cruise was
by today's standards, no, but for back then,
true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Things have changed a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the thing's maxed out depending on the engine combination and the variant of the airframe. I think about 150 mile an hour, I think, is where they maxed. And from what I read, they cruised at around 90 to 100 mile an hour. That's where they cruised.
Yeah, that's not very fast. But that's still pretty cool though for back then.
Something that big, to me, flying at just 100 mile an hour, it seems like it shouldn't compute.
It's all wing.
That's true.
I mean, all wing. It's just huge wing on this tiny airplane.
Mm-hmm. Stalls at 57 mile an hour, plus or minus.
Mile an hour.
Yeah. 57.
Miles an hour.
Miles per hour?
Mile an hour.
I'm sorry. It's the Midwest in me. Mile an hour. Don't you guys say it that way? I say it that way.
I know you do.
Everybody says it.
And it makes me chuckle every time. Other thing that I kind of thought was cool, it only weighed 6,500 pounds empty.
Yeah, that's surprising.
That's nothing.
For a lot of metal and 3 really heavy, what I would assume would be heavy, 9-cylinder radial engines, I would have expected it to weigh more than that.
Yeah, that's like 2 cars.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
That's the weight of 2 cars.
That's true. Not even heavy cars.
No. That's,
I
guess one heavy car, then I guess if you look at it.
Yeah, I think some of today's pickup trucks are 4,500 pounds, some of them. So, wow. Yeah. When you put it in that kind of perspective, that's actually not very heavy at all.
No.
What could they be loaded to? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, 6,500 pounds. I can't imagine. I mean, you could probably really load these things up, I bet.
Oh, you would hope so.
So
a lot of wing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I saw somewhere where I read that they had about a 570-ish mile range, and they could climb to 18,000 and some change feet on 3 engines. But on 2 engines, get this, the max ceiling on 2 engines was only like, I might be wrong on this, but it was 7,500 feet.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Like you would think if you got up there and lost an engine, that you'd still be able to, because, air thinner, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was in the reading that I read. Yeah.
Maybe it didn't have enough pull to pull the engine.
I don't know.
Or to pull the airplane.
There's quite a difference, and I don't know. Maybe that's the norm for multi-engine airplanes. Maybe it's a safety thing. I don't know, but yeah, I read that and I was like, well, that's strange.
It just hit me.
Makes me want to go smaller, so we have the proper thrust to weight ratio.
We're not going smaller. That's not. Okay. You know what just hit me? And this is way off topic. So the first airplane I built was a single engine. The second airplane I built was a dualist, and that was a 2-engine airplane.
Awesome.
The third airplane we're building,
3 engines.
Tri-motor.
1, 2, 3.
3 engines.
So what we got to build next?
What's next?
Oh, like a B-17 or maybe a B-24 or some 4-engine thing. I think that's probably got to be next.
That's funny. That just hit me. That's kind of cool.
1, 2, 3. That is kind of funny.
All right. Next, let's move on. Sorry.
They weren't terribly expensive, these airplanes. Of course, now we're talking, $1925, $1930, but...
Oh, I thought you were talking about the planes I built.
Oh, no, the Ford Tri-Motor... back in 1930-ish, let's say, you could buy one for about $42,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Although with inflation, that's a lot more now.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know,
$1 million or something like that. I don't know.
But it's funny, in the prep for tonight's episode, we were looking, and there's one for sale right now for $1.4 million.
$1.4 million.
$1.4 million. So,
or they said payments of $6,700 a month.
Easy peasy.
I didn't do the math. How many months is that?
I don't.
That would be like 75 years?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
It's crazy.
Well, one of the things I really liked about the Tri-Motor, and it drew me to it, was not just the fact that it's corrugated, not just the fact that it's Ford. I love the exterior control panels or the cables.
Cables, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just think that's so cool that you can see everything working.
Do the cables... Do they pass by any of the windows of the cabin?
No, it's above.
Oh, because how cool would that be if you were sitting in one of these things and you could see the cables moving as the pilot was operating the controls? That would be really cool.
I think that would scare me.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
But no, they're ran high enough to where you can't see them out the window.
Well.
And then they're hidden in the wing, obviously, when they go out. There's a bunch of, there's a ton of pulleys and stuff in there that obviously takes it around so it works right. But I thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool. Something that's not so cool for the pilots on the Ford Tri-Motor, the engine gauges were actually mounted on the engines.
Yeah, that was neat to actually see them when we rode on it.
Yeah, they're not in the cockpit, so
you have to look outside.
The pilot has to actually look out the window to see oil pressure and things like that.
And not just out the window behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Through the spinning metal propeller.
Yeah, you're right, because that's in front of it. That's so funny. Oh gosh,
I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll have to figure out a way to simulate some gauges on our.
Yeah, they're not going to move.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
No, they're gonna. Yeah, they're
just be printed pieces of paper.
Right. So yeah, 9. I'm an engine guy, so these things had 3 engines on them, 9-cylinder radials, all of them, every variant. But they were different engines. Some they experimented with Pratt & Whitney. Lycoming made some radial engines at a later time for them. Obviously, Wright made engines for these things. At one point, which I find this kind of interesting, they experimented with I believe it was a Wright Cyclone, which is a supercharged version of their 9-cylinder radial engine that makes about 500 horsepower. Actually made over that, and they stuck that in the nose with the 2 whirlwinds out on the wing, and so you had 500 horsepower in the center, and then about 300 horsepower on each side of it. So, kind of neat things you can do with a tri-motor because you can experiment with stuff in the
different
middle.
motors. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So yeah, there was some experimenting going on, which I I think is cool.
Well, see, our engines don't have to match them because they all didn't match on the full-size plane.
Well, 2 of them have to match.
Well, right.
Right.
But the center one can be whatever.
Which is why our original plan would have been scale, having a 120 in the center and 2 91s on the wings.
Well, this is going to be scale anyway because it's going to be 2 different brands of the same size engine.
That's true.
So YS on the wings and an OS in the middle. And they both end in S anyway, so it's close enough. They're S engines.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll give you that one. So they produced about 200 of these things over the course of, 7 years. When the production ended in 1933, that was it for a while. Ford went on to experiment with some other stuff. The Ford Flivver, if you're familiar with that one, is a little single seat.
I saw one at Henry Ford too. They had one hanging up.
I built one, a little plastic model as a kid.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'd like to do that as a RC sometime too.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Except it killed the pilot.
It did. But anyway, Ford experimented with some of that stuff, and they certainly didn't leave the airplane manufacturing business.
I was going to say they kind of did because Henry Ford, I thought after his test pilot died in that Flivver, what is it?
Flivver.
In the Flivver, he kind of got upset with it and didn't want to do airplanes anymore.
He did. But Ford manufactured airplanes for America during World War II.
Oh, yeah.
They manufactured under license consolidated B-24 bombers.
But they weren't Fords anymore.
No, they weren't Fords, but they were
Ford's
still manufacturing airplanes.
The Ford airplane division.
Right.
It was no longer.
So eventually Ford sold. It's kind of a weird roundabout story. They bought the airplane business essentially from Stout Metal Aircraft, and Stout Roger, I think is his name. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he actually stayed with the company during Ford's ownership of it until about 1930, and then he left the business to go continue making stuff on his own. And then when Ford was done with the airplane, with the Ford airplane business, some years later, they sold all of the tri-motor stuff. And I think even some of the Flivver designs went back to Stout, who had a new company, Stout something. It wasn't Stout Metal Aircraft at the time. But anyway, Stout updated the design of the tri-motor, changed a few things, updated the engines and all that, and produced an airplane that was very similar in appearance to the tri-motor, and it was called the Bushmaster 2000. There's not a lot of information out there, and I didn't spend a whole lot of time searching, but I'm sure it's out there. But yeah, Bushmaster 2000. I think there's one that actually makes the rounds in the air shows. So, and I didn't know that. Yeah, and I think they give rides on that one too.
Cool.
But that one didn't last long either because it wasn't up to the same performance standards of modern airplane of theirs. And we're talking like 1950s. That's when that was produced. So, yeah. Cool. So that's the story of the Ford Tri-Motor.
That's such a cool plane.
It is a cool
Let's
plane.
build it.
We're going to.
Okay, last thing I want to talk about. So, since we're releasing this just a couple days before Valentine's Day, don't do that.
Sorry.
Don't look at me with those eyes. Since this is being released a couple days before Valentine's Day, I thought it would be cool to talk about, just really quick, what do we love about the hobby? So, I'll go first if you want me to.
Yeah.
Personally, I love how the hobby pushes me to learn and do new things. Case in point, let's look at this tri-motor. This is going to be a lot of learning and a lot of doing new things.
Absolutely.
I love building things and I love figuring out how things work. And this hobby can really teach you a lot, I think, about engineering, math, like hand-eye coordination, and really it gets you out of the house, which is nice.
Yeah.
You learn about fluid dynamics by how an airplane moves in the air, right? Physics, building techniques by building your own airplanes. And you can also learn about physics by seeing how an airplane crashes, how and when it reacts to the ground.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the ultimate video game, but with real consequences, right?
Well, very real consequences. Definitely consequences both emotionally, financially,
a lot
possibly
of monetary
physically.
Well, depending on who it is. Yeah.
No, I get it.
No, but I just love how, we're always growing in the hobby. No matter how much you think you know, there's always somebody else out there that knows more than you.
Absolutely.
And there's always something new to learn. Yeah. So it's, the hobby is really evolving quickly, and I'm excited to see where it's going. So I just love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything?
Well, for me, I mean, put me on the spot here. I think I love, no matter how much the hobby changes, seems like I can always find something that satisfies that urge to tinker with something, because it seems like you can always find something to tinker with on your RC airplane.
Oh yeah.
So I love that. I also love that even though technology has had a huge impact, especially in the last, I'm going to say 10 years, has a huge impact on the hobby, both positive and negative. Us old timers, some of the things maybe not so positive.
I was going to say, what's been negative?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into that, but
no, just name me one quick thing, because I don't even know what you're talking about that would be negative.
Well, I mean, the lack of kits. The technology has allowed manufacturers to build ARFs faster, and so now everybody's airplane looks alike. Not really, but the fact that there aren't as many kit manufacturers around because technology has made it easier to produce ARFs.
But you know what? I think that's gotten more people into the hobby, though.
It probably has.
So while that's a negative that there's not as many kit manufacturers
it's a positive
and stuff,
to the hobby, probably, but
in general, yeah.
So
I can turn anything.
For turning my love into something,
No, I turned your negative into more love.
Oh, okay.
Right? I don't know. Into a positive.
Sure.
Negative to a positive? Yeah. Sure. Anyway, go on.
Oh, but so even though the technology has made a huge impact, all positive, according to Ron.
And
there are still some things that I can do, the old way, which is comforting to me and maybe others like me who are maybe not that we're resistant to change, but generally speaking, people don't like change. And the older you get, I'll tell you, the older you get, the less you appreciate change. So I love the fact that I can still do things if I want to, the old way, be it working with balsa or installing, radio gear or tinkering with engines that nobody wants to tinker with, whatever that is. I love the fact that I can still do that.
Or getting 3 of them to run at the same speed and building an airplane, with 3 airplanes.
Well, yeah.
Or with three engines.
3 engines. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
It is.
But basically, I'm a hands-on. My personality, I'm very hands-on, and I love the hobby because it's very therapeutic to me because it is a hands-on hobby.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever built a 3-engine plane before? By the way,
nah, never.
Nice.
Yeah. So this will be a first.
This is a lot of firsts.
It is.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. This is only my second scratch build, so that's exciting.
That is kind of fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, my first one, we went over that.
I can't remember what it was. I know what it is. There we go. I couldn't remember that, but I knew it was the one that never flew. So maybe this will be your first scratch build that flies.
My first successful one.
I hope so.
Hey, there we go. All right.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about, or are we finished?
Nope. I think we've bored them long enough.
Well, thank you all for listening. If you're still there or watching, whichever. Yep. Until next time, I'm Ron.
And I'm Tom.
Good night.
Good night.